Bruce, I guess I'm wondering, like, when you're out on the streets, what do most people recognize you first from? Like, what do you hear about more? Is it Ash from Evil Dead?
It's got to be Ash, right?
Well, it's weird. I don't really look like Ash anymore, so I don't get as much of that. I look like Sam Axe from Burn Notice.
Yeah.
I'll get more of that. And plus, that's, that was a mainstream show and ran for 7 years. And TV has a way to make you more popular than any movie, Mm-hmm. And if an actor wants to get famous, they really need to do a TV show. So I'd say mostly that these days.
Did you set out to be like a huge A-list movie star, or were you always kind of like, I'm just going to kind of be a gypsy and see where this thing goes?
Well, you have much less control than you would think. The idea was to get in to the movie business. So a good way to get in is genre movies. Horror movies can be very inexpensive to make. Mm-hmm. And at the time when we made the first Evil Dead movie, we wanted to pick a genre that we could do inexpensively and that you could potentially get sold. And so horror was logical, but it wasn't our first choice as far as a genre. So we've always been trying to shoehorn humor back into the horror business. It wasn't really something that really struck my fancy as a genre. It's fine, perfectly fine, but, so anyway, we can't really control where we wind up to a degree, and then, you start in exploitation movies, and a lot of times you can very easily just end up there. So a lot of actors start in B movies and they end in B movies. Yeah. So I figured I'll save the hassle. I'll just stay there.
Well, what is a successful project to you, Bruce? You wrote a lot about the Man with the Screaming Brain experience that you had, the hardship of filming in Bulgaria, and the film ended up to be a flop commercially, but it seems like you really enjoyed it and chalked it up as a positive experience.
Well, yeah, because what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? You also have to have failures to temper things a little bit. It's good. It's good to figure out why something didn't work. Because I thought it was going to be the opposite. I went down there to make 2 movies in Bulgaria for the Sci-Fi Channel, and the one that I thought was going to be a dog was one of their top-rated TV movies, and then mine, which I thought was going to be a slam dunk. The executives wouldn't even send me the information on the ratings because they were so bad. So I'm like, wow. Your expectations are one thing, reality tends to be another thing.
Yeah. But when you say a slam dunk, like what do you mean by that? I mean, some of these movies and the people involved and the budget, you have to know that this isn't going to be like, an A-lister, huge moneymaker in the blockbuster arena of movies.
Yeah.
Like, have you kind of, it seems like you have settled into this identity as a B-movie actor and you're fine with it, but at what point did that become kind of your reality? Like, all right, it is what it is.
Well, it's weird. Like, I've been in the Spider-Man movies, and, Burn Notice was the #1 show on cable for certainly 3 out of the 7 years that it was on. So I've been in big mainstream stuff, but I think ultimately I tend to identify more with the B-movie world because I find it's a little more creative. The stories told can be much more interesting. You can have twist endings and crazy characters and wild scenarios, which that just appeals to me more, I think, just as a genre.
I think it would be way more fun, too, because I think, the idea of being a Hollywood Brad Pitt, it sounds glamorous and it sounds fun, but it would suck so bad.
I think it's overrated.
It would be way overrated.
Look, the guy can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Without getting, basically mobbed. He's got to have special cell phones. He's got to have his mail has to go to a certain place. He's very careful probably about his internet use, I don't know. It sounds way overrated, which is why you keep wondering why famous people hang out with famous people, because they have to.
Yeah.
That's the only people they can hang out and feel normal with. And so they'll all go to somebody's house and hang out and swim at the pool, So because they can't, it's tough for them to socialize. So, yeah, I'm very happy to make a living, but not have people going through my trash.
Yeah. And like you said, you've been in some big ones. Spider-Man, you were in all 3 of those. Your buddy Sam Raimi from back in the day. You grew up in Birmingham, right? Birmingham,
that's right.
Royal Oak.
Detroit.
Yeah. Yeah, we're here in Franklin.
Yeah, we're
broadcasting from Franklin. I was actually at
Franklin. That's where Sam lived.
Yeah,
Sam was born and raised in Franklin.
I was actually at your high school yesterday for a soccer game, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah,
that high school is like a college now.
Yeah.
It's like a community college. The thing is ginormous. They keep adding onto it.
Yeah. Pretty big campus at this point. But yeah, I mean, you've been in some big ones. Spider-Man. You said something interesting about Spider-Man. You said you believe that Spider-Man represented a turning of the tide or taste when A-list movies are now B-list movies conceptually. What did you mean by that?
Well, that I think Spider-Man kind of kicked off the current wave of sci-fi and sort of fantasy, that it became way more mainstream. You know, comic books, Spider-Man's a B movie. It's a B movie. So's Batman. If you dress up like a bat and drive around in a souped-up car, that's a totally B movie idea. So it's kind of interesting that all the A movies now are B movies. So I feel vindicated in a way.
Yeah. Well, will it ever go back to like this high-minded? Because I think I've sort of been objecting to that. Like, oh, I'm just sick of these
CGI.
Yeah, the over CGI'd movies, the superheroes all the time.
Yeah.
The lack of like a unique concept. Will it ever bounce back, you think, or are we here stuck?
It depends on where we are as a species. I think we were more serious in the 70s. We're frivolous now.
Yeah.
We don't pay attention to anything anymore. Like, we binge watch. That's how we pay attention now.
Mm-hmm.
We binge watch at home. We'll watch a whole half of a season over a weekend. But I think we're not taking. I think we want, when times get a little weird, we want movies to make us feel happy and comfortable. And so we have a lot of hero movies out now, because I think we're kind of short on heroes in real life. We don't see them. We don't see them in government. We don't see them representing us in our daily lives, you know, or sometimes our boss is a butthead, you know, or whatever the scenario is. If our society's in a weird spot, movies tend to reflect that by either going, hey, don't worry, be happy. You know, during the Depression, that was when all the Busby Berkeley musicals were big. You know, no one has a pot to piss in, but let's show them these splashy, fun musicals and just take your mind away from your soup kitchen line,
right?
You know, for a little bit. It's the same theory, I think, now.
Is that storyline exclusive to American filmmaking? Because the idea of tragedy.
Because Europeans, they care about completely different things. Europeans, as an example, they have no problem with sex whatsoever,
right?
Because they have no issue with sex. They have an issue with violence. So their movies, you know, you'll see way more sex and way less violence. And the violence in a foreign movie is not treated in the super slow-mo cool way with, you know, your shells coming out of the gun, super slow-mo with a grimace on your face. We stylize that. We make it, our violence is way more almost arty now. We're always going to do Westerns because Westerns are cool, and guns, and we're always going to do cop movies because they have guns.
Hero.
You know, we're a little gun crazy here, and that's why people need to get out more to see other countries. I really would make it mandatory. By the time you turn 18, you actually have to leave the United States for 1 year.
That'd be interesting.
I've gone to the Italian Film Fest, been dragged there the last few years, and I noticed it. It's like I'm so ingrained in like, okay, well, where's the hero going to come in and people just look normal. They're not all tens. They're not all beautiful.
They're not all buffed up. No, they're people with bags under their eyes and crappy teeth and ugly hair and and they're having sex, and I'm watching them have sex. You know? They just want to drink coffee and smoke cigarettes. You know,
exactly.
I don't know. It's just a different sensibility. So therefore, it's reflected in their entertainment. We're sort of a virus. Our movies are spreading very much across the world. We are the standard bearers for motion pictures still.